Something I wanted to speak about was like the way we're talking about the mind and how powerful it is. Something that really struck me was that at the monastery you was taught how to focus, taught these simple things: focus, eat. But one of the ones that really was quite a strange one to me was the sleep. Taught how to sleep, and you spoke about how you were taught how to sleep, but also consciously sleeping. It's just something that's really interesting. We spoke about it a few times. It's something, I practice something, and I don't know if you would define it as this, but I used to practice lucid dreaming, and for me that was I tried to practice the skill of basketball in my lucid dreams. Wasn't very successful at it, but I did manage to lucid dream. But just talk us through, like, one, why you needed to learn how to sleep, but also sort of the extent that the mind could take those lessons and teachings.
It's the same way, like you would say, you know, if you had a child, you would teach your child how to walk, how to talk, how to read, how to write, how to eat, how to, you know, aim the spoon at your mouth and not your eyeball. That'd be very helpful, right? And so why would sleep be any different? You train them how to wash their hair, keep their nails clean, how to wash their hands, how to take a shower, and how to go to the bathroom and clean up after themselves. Sleep is part of life. We do it every day. We can't exist without it. So why wouldn't we be taught how to go to sleep? Again, a very interesting concept. You know, I never thought about it. You know, when I was a kid, my mom was like, okay, go to sleep. It's 8 o'clock. I'm like, okay, I'll go try, you know. That's what we get told to do. Eat your food, you know, focus, sleep. We get yelled at, these military commands, but no one teaches us how to do it. And when I went to the monastery, my guru said, like, oh, you need to learn how to go to sleep. I'm like, what an interesting concept. I'd like to learn how to go to sleep. And the mind can learn. The mind can learn anything, right? And it's a matter of understanding the process and then practicing over and over and over again. You know, I would travel with my guru, and sometimes the trips would be long. We'd go to Europe for we lived in Hawaii, but we'd go to Europe for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. You know, he'd be traveling and speaking, and I'd be traveling with him. He'd get on a plane, put everything away, belt up, and before the plane even took off, he'd be dead asleep. I'm like, really, dude? You know, I'd be awake the whole flight. I'd get off the plane like 12 hours later, jet lagged, you know, red-eyed, and he'd be looking fresh as a daisy. Just because he knew how to put himself to sleep. And then, you know, I would ask him to teach me so I could go to sleep. And now that's something I do. You know, when I travel, I get on the plane, I do the same thing. I put everything away, I belt up, and my goal is to fall asleep before the plane takes off. But what a great thing if you could just put yourself to sleep and put yourself to good sleep, and making sure that you had good dreams and you're not affected by nightmares, and protect yourself at sleep. Well, you know, you have that window to rest so that when you wake up in the morning, you can be fresh and execute your day. So it's so important to learn how to do that.
100%. I mean, sleep is super important. Entrepreneurs, athletes especially. It's something that's always like, we've dived into sleep a little bit and looked at sleep, and again, is just the power of the mind as well, and what it's doing in those hours that it is actually sleeping, and going through all those processes subconsciously. You know, it's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, a lot of people have unresolved issues in their subconscious, so they never ever get restful sleep. You know, they're always tossing and turning, they're having nightmares constantly, because they just have all these burdensome things in their subconscious that's just bothering them through the sleep. So when they wake up in the morning, they're never fully rested. And also the space, you know, sleeping is one thing, the actual process of sleeping, your physical body's sleeping, but where are you sleeping? You know, your bedroom, you know, is it clean? Is it neat? What are you doing before sleep? Are you on the internet? You know, are you watching Rambo 7? You know, Stallone blowing up shit before you go to sleep? What do you think you'll be dreaming about when you go to sleep? Right? And like parents come up to me and go like, "Oh, my child has nightmares all the time." Like, what do you think it is? I go like, "What does your child do before she goes to sleep?" "Well, she's always reading Harry Potter." And I'm like, "Well, do you think she might be dreaming of witches and sorcerers and demons when she's sleeping?"
Yeah.
Try watching Nightmare on Elm Street every night before you go to sleep for a week and see what your dreams are like. Probably not great, right? And the space that you're in, is your bedroom clean? Is it tidy? Is it neat? Is it cluttered? All that affects how you sleep as well. So that was a lot of the training in the monastery, right? It's just teaching you these basic things about life, about eating properly and learning to focus and understanding your mind, understanding your body, understanding how to go to sleep, understanding how to wake up in the morning. People wake up in the morning and start stroking their phone, maybe you could stroke your wife, hug your daughter, your child, but this is what they do,
It's so true.
And then that forms the early impressions in their mind, right? As soon as you wake up, that's what just goes in your mind.
So with that is the idea of, let's say I want to be CEO of a specific company, that's my goal. Is there an issue with being fixated on such a specific goal and the idea that maybe you don't achieve it, or is there an issue with that, getting sort of emotionally tied to that?
I think one needs to be also very realistic with one's capability, right? And how much work we're willing to do. If I said my goal is to climb Everest, and I'm so not fit right now, and I don't do anything about it, then I may not get there. So I think it's okay to have big, audacious goals and have that very clear in your mind. When I left the monastery, 12 and a half years ago, I had nothing. I left with $1,000 cash they gave me and a MacBook Pro and my robes. And that's all I had, my beads and my monastic earrings. That's what I had. And I had a goal to create a place that would be a spiritual sanctuary. I had a botanical garden. That was 12 years ago, and now I'm creating that. When I shared it with a few people, they go like, "Yeah, you might be able to pull it off, maybe. I don't know. That seems pretty big. How are you going to do it?" I'm not sure. I'm going to figure it out. But I had a clear vision of what it is I wanted, and then I went for it. But I was willing to put in the hard work. But I think the clarity is important, and I don't think we should be afraid of dreaming big. But then once we have the clarity about what it is we want and being very specific of what it is, then we really need to outline the steps to get there and find the right people that can help us get there. Getting the right advice, getting the right group of people around you, the right surroundings. That is all super critical.